podcast. This week, our guest is the legendary Vince Lee. So I hope you enjoy it. Cheers. Okay, hello Vince. How you doing? Welcome to the Noise Filter podcast. Nice to have you. How's things with you? All right?
All good, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're off to the Barley this evening, I assume.
The Barley Sheaf in Liskeard. Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yes, I am.
So, for anyone that doesn't know your style of music and what you do, could you just give like a little introduction into your little thing?
Yeah, I'm a blues guitar player from Plymouth, or based in Plymouth anyway, and I've got a little trio that's called Vince Lee and the Big Combo.
Yeah. And
we've been together for some time now. It's probably over 20 years. I know that you've been coming to see me play in Liskeard quite a lot over the years, probably for at least 15 of those years. So yeah, and you know, I've played all over the Southwest quite a lot, and a little bit around Europe and stuff. Got a little bit of a following with people who like dirty blues and stuff, you know. So yeah, that's the thing really. I'm a guitar player, singer. I got a 3-piece band which consists of Al Wallace on electric bass and Sebastian Boslowski on drums, and occasionally we had piano with a guy called Josiah Manning.
Okay.
Very good player.
He's a producer as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He works with a studio called Momentum Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I've done a little bit of work out recently with Alex Hart. She's making a new record. Yeah. Making a little EP called For the Summer. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And she had me in the other day to do some lead guitar stuff.
Nice.
And make some noise with a EBow. It's quite fun. I don't know if they'll use that.
Yeah, EBow is a funny old thing, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it kind of worked, I think. I don't know. We'll see.
It's a really cool tool, isn't it?
Well, it's just inducing feedback. It's brilliant. Yeah. You know, without killing your ears. I mean, I used to sit in the PMC with Doc, with his Gretsch, you know, his Gretsch Country Gent, trying to induce feedback out of my amplifier in the same room as it. And afterwards, I just would be like completely like
dying.
Out to lunch. Like, what day is it? Because of the sheer volume.
Yeah.
You know, dive bombing the Bixby tremolo arm and all that stuff, making all these stupid noises. And now you can just sort of sit there. Yeah, and off you go.
Yeah, cool. They are cool. I think something like I think it was Radiohead that introduced me to the EBow, and yeah, it's got some particularly. It comes with if you buy. I had one that turned up and it came in a little bag, and it came with a tape.
That's right.
Yeah, it's got all the like.
Comes with a cassette showing you how to use it.
Yeah, that's
My missus hates it. She won't let me use it. If she's in the room, she's like, "Don't use that thing."
Yeah, it's Marmite to people's ears.
Yeah, it scares her. She doesn't like it because I play all these sinister scales, you know. I use it with a bottleneck, so that it's completely seamless. It's like having I'll tell you what, it's like a theremin.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. With a bottleneck, it's just like a theremin because you can slide between notes and there is no fret noise and all that stuff. It's quite a.
They are particularly odd, aren't they?
Yeah.
I do like it. So you play with quite a lot of people, don't you?
Well, I have done, yeah. I mean, at the moment, I'm not so much. I occasionally, you know, get asked to do little gigs with people just as a sort of one-off thing. Yeah. You know, and this year I've played a lot with my own band and with Becca Lynsford. Yeah. As in our little duo. Sometimes adding a double bass player, Tom Carr.
Okay.
But also I played with Thomas Ford a few times this year as well. Yeah. Doing like little duo gigs. He plays harmonica and sings a few tunes, and I sort of front it really, playing the guitar and singing. And yeah, we've done a few gigs with him around Southwest, mostly in Cornwall, I think. Who else? This weekend just gone, and I've still got bloody earache to prove it. I played with the guys from the Big Sets. You know the Big Sets?
Yeah.
They got a new band, the King Shufflers, with John Smith on the harmonica and Jake Landers on guitar, and Pete Nichols is an old friend of mine from Plymouth, you know, drummer, great drummer. We just went and did this one-off gig the other night, basically because they kind of like double booked half the band and they were in need of somebody to front it, so I went and did that. That was good fun. Man, it was so loud. My ears were ringing for 2 days after that. Killer.
Some on stage engineers just like crank it up, don't they?
Yeah. Well, we had no one to blame but ourselves because we were the on stage engineers. It was just it was one of those rooms. It was very low ceiling. You know, there was a lot of people in there, very drunk people, like rolling around on the floor and stuff. You know, and you couldn't. The scene between band and audience was not very easy to figure out where that is. You know, it was quite. It's a proper rock and roll gig. You know.
Yeah, those are the best, aren't they?
Yeah. I did a bit of stage diving and stuff. It was good fun. It was good.
And you've been on. I heard you on Joanna Cook's.
Oh yeah, that's
new
another
song.
thing I did earlier this year. Seems like ages ago now.
Yeah, right.
But like, she just got me round and said, I really want your voice for this. This is like dark, sinister voice that I want singing this line. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I just went around there and sang it a couple of times, and they were both like this. Yeah, that's what we. I was like, it's job done. I don't think it took me very long.
I think Matt played it to me and he said, "Who do you think this is?" And I couldn't place it. I couldn't place who it was at all.
Okay.
So it's very it's very good. Yeah, it's very it's very.
It's
good.
quite understated, but it's just used. I get asked a lot for vocal stuff when it comes to baritone.
Yeah, you've got a great baritone voice.
People like the lower register, and I don't think anyone else can really get down
there. No, it's really good. It's really good. I thought it was like pitch shifted down or something. I just
that's just my natural
baritone.
Yeah.
Natural Barry. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's years and years of singing.
Yeah.
And it's just gotten lower and lower. It's weird because like I recently listened to an old recording from like the early 2000s, and a lot of the songs that were on that I still do, and I still manage to. They're in the same key.
Yeah.
And I still manage to be able to sing them, but my voice just sounds like I'm on helium. When I was in my 20s, like late 20s, I'm just like, where is all that kind of high pitched thing coming from? You know, because it's over the years, it's just really gone.
You can see
gone deep.
You can see why singers, like I don't know, these singers that have had songs for like 30 years or whatever, just get really frightened having to do them live. Don't they?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm still hitting the notes, but it's just weird because it just feels very much deeper and darker, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Voice is a crazy thing, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
So, Joanna Cook, and I think I found out about Tom Ford from. Did you used to play in his band?
Yeah, we used to be in a band together.
Yeah.
It was called Thomas Ford and the Dirty Harmonies.
Yeah.
And it was quite a big old band really, because it was me and him and his brother Timmy on drums, Tim Langsford, who he still plays with now, and Al Wallace was in that band as well on bass. Becca was the kind of like backing singer, and then she would kind of front a few tunes as well.
Yeah.
We'd all switch it around, so I'd sing a few, Thomas Ford sing a few, and she'd sing a few, and we'd mix it up, and it was quite a full-on band. Another guy, Patrick James Pearson, was in that band.
Yeah.
It's a nice addition because he was like, you know, he wasn't really a blues guy, but he has got some great musical ideas.
Yeah.
So he was good to have on board as well. He used to play sax and keyboards with us.
Cool.
You know, but it was kind of like a blues thing, but it had a punky sort of edge to it because we were all sort of coming from that, you know, quite aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, side of it, maybe because I was playing in a band at the time called the Wild Cards.
Yeah.
And we were sort of crossing over with like rockabilly and like old swing stuff and, you know, stuff from the 20s, you know, like the old Flapper sort of stuff, you know. We were trying to play all that stuff with electric guitars, so that there was this kind of like vibe going on. We were into bands like the legendary Shack Shakers,
right?
Yeah, and like the Squirrel Nut Zippers. We were right into them back in the day, like, you know, when we were younger, as well as being like really big in with blues and stuff, you know, and early rock and roll, rhythm and blues. People like that you're into as well, you know, with your band.
Yeah.
Like Louis Jordan and
I love
Louis Prima and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Some great, like, almost timeless. Some really timeless music came from that era.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. You know, we mine that depths constantly, and I'm like just always amazed how many tunes. I'm just like, these songs are awesome.
Yeah.
And just like, absolutely, just make me so happy.
Uh-huh.
It's an odd era, isn't it? Really.
Well, yeah, it's that sort of pre rock and roll era. You know, It's a very interesting period in music for me. I think I was always really sort of fascinated by it. You know, even with the sort of like the early Howlin' Wolf stuff, the Sun Records recordings and stuff. I was always really fascinated by that when I was younger.
It's a really like just unplumbable depth, isn't it? You can just I don't know. I can just keep looking, finding more and more good stuff.
That's right.
We
and some of it's absolute gold dust as well. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and prime for sort of bringing back out again.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
It's party music, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, from my guitar point of view, electric guitar point of view, I was very much into the jump blues stuff, you know, from that era, late 40s sort of stuff, you know, like Bill Jennings, and obviously T-Bone Walker, and Pee Wee Creighton, you know, all those kind of people. That was where I was coming from with it.
Yeah.
And then all the sort of like modern guys, Hollywood Fats and Junior Watson, and all those dudes, you know.
Is that the sort of so is that the music you grew up on and loved, or did you discover it sort of like as you were older? Was it something that
I discovered it, most of it, when I was fairly young. I had pretty good teachers, because when I first started playing in bands, all the guys in the band that I put together, which was the Vince Lee Blues Band back in the late 80s. I mean, I started in 87.
Yeah.
I was like 17, 18, I suppose, at that time. And all the guys in my band were all 35, 40, you know. So they'd already been around, and they knew their stuff, you know. They used to go to the Van Dyke Club in Plymouth and watch, you know, all these old great acts and stuff, you know, before I was born.
Yeah.
So they'd have all these great stories about having seen like Sonny Terry, Brownie McGhee, and Jimmy Witherspoon, and all sorts of people that you would think, wow, they played in the Southwest. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but they were there. They saw that stuff, you know. So they had good record collections. So they would teach me up, you know. So I sort of came to it with this thing of like, yeah, I want to play some electric guitar, you know, I'm Big Green.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I quite like John Lee Hooker.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. That's cool. And you know, Muddy Waters, and you know, people who were around at the time like Albert Collins and George Thorogood. That was the kind of stuff I was into, and they were like, "Nah, mate, you need to listen to this stuff.
Get schooled.
Take this home with you," and it would be Little Walter, and you know, Big Bill Brunsey, and you know, all the real stuff, like, you know, and they schooled me on it like really early.
Yeah.
You know, every time I went to a rehearsal, I'd have a pile of vinyl to take home with me, you know, from different members of the band, and they, you know, I'd have to bring them back next week, you know, and they'd give me another lot. It was like going to the library.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I used to soak it up, you know. I'd soak it up, because you do when you're, you know, you're looking for it, like, you know. And so I got a bit obsessed with it, and over time you just become a bit of a sort of like authority on it almost, you know. You start showing other people and saying, nah, you need to listen to this.
Yeah.
This is where that came from.
Yeah.
And that's where that came from.
I think like every good musician I've ever met has been an obsessive fan about something, and is like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's got like every good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I mean, you know, I just sat there and soaked it up, you know. And even now with the internet and stuff, you know, I'm just constantly like you probably are, just searching out new stuff. I'm just obsessed with it, you know. You know, I love the real early stuff, the rural blues, the country stuff. I really love that, and like, you know, that's another thing that's unfathomable. Like, you know, the more you sort of look into it, the more you start to put the whole map together. But it's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I love
and
it.
Some great music, some great musicians from that era, from the 20s and stuff, the late 20s. Some amazing musicians, like, you know.
It's like talent was just, I don't know, it almost seems like, I don't know, maybe not, but like just felt like there was so much talent and so many like incredible musician ensembles come together. But I suspect that for every genre, every era, there's that, isn't there? But it feels like, I suppose it feels like when you look for those things, you find these incredible horn players, you find these incredible guitarists, and these like really inventive ideas and stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're pioneers of music. You know? That's what I find fascinating about it, is that like nobody had done it before, you know.
And they went and did that.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's
Yeah.
mad, isn't it?
Or you assume that nobody had done it before, and then you find out somebody did do it before.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn the kind of family tree of it all. It's really interesting, like, you know.
The origins of music is an amazing thing to even begin to study, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
You know, it's incredible.
Yeah, I tend to just like grab a couple of years.
Yeah.
And just focus on that little bit for a while.
Yeah.
And I've jumped from one thing to another over time. Like, you know, one minute I'll be listening to obsessively listening to just Bessie Smith. That's all I'll listen to for like 6 months, you know.
Yeah.
And then I'll find somebody like that I've never really come across before, and I'll just get really obsessed about it. You know, I recently, well, I say recently, in the last couple of years, I discovered Papa Charlie Jackson, who I never really took any notice of. I knew the name, and I just sort of thought, you know, one day I just thought, I'm going to go and check this guy out, and I got online and I found all of his music, and I just completely went crazy for it. Like, you know, 6-string banjo player.
Nice.
From the 20s, like New Orleans guy, like, and great songwriter, and just makes me feel happy. I like it.
Yeah.
You know? I like it a lot, and it's rubbed off on me. You know, I've learned some of his tunes, and
cool.
You know, so I'm always finding I'm always finding new people.
Yeah.
And you know,
I think that's how you grow as a musician, isn't it? You have to like, and I suppose that's why people fall out of love with bands, isn't it? Because they grow in a different direction to, you know, everyone sort of kind of moves through this musical journey and goes on these little adventures.
Yeah.
I suppose it's what keeps it fresh for us, isn't it? Having to pick up some new music and stuff. But,
yeah.
So, what was, if you could like name, and you have already actually, to be completely honest, but you could name some like key records that were like instrumental in your sound being you. What, and I suppose it's hard because you've actually got quite a long.
Yeah, there's a lot of records that I've listened to over time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like a lot of guys, like, you know, you go from one thing to another, but there are some solid records that I the first time I listened to them, I knew that I'd be listening to it forever. You know, and I still am. I still do on occasion, like, you know, and that goes way back to like the 80s and stuff when I first got into it all, you know. And some of those records that those guys came to rehearsals with, I've gone out and bought those records because I need them in my life.
Yeah.
You know, because they lend them to me, and then a fortnight later, I'd be like, "Have you give me that record back now, or what?" So I'd have to go out and buy a copy, you know. And some of those records I've bought 2 or 3 times because I've ended up losing it or lending it out and not get it back, so I know how it goes. You know. So like, yeah, I mean, like a lot of guys who like the same kind of music that I do, you know, there are some seminal records like the Hollywood Fats Band album from the late 70s, like 77 I think it is, 78. That's just an awesome record, like, you know, for just pure, you know, West Coast blues guitar, you know. The guy was like a pioneer with it. So like the tone of his guitar on those records is just absolutely amazing. And then another record called Extra Napkins by James Harmon's band.
Right.
Which is like also like, you know, in a lot of people's opinion, it's gold dust, you know. I know a lot of people who've got that record because they get it.
Yeah.
They get it, you know. Not everyone gets it, like, but you know, if you've got those 2 records, then you tend to from there on you sort of
branch out.
You span straight out from there, like, you know. And I got those records a long time ago. And even like with the youngsters that I'm meeting now, like Jake recently, I was like, yeah, you need to go and buy that record, and he's gone and bought them all, you know, all the ones I recommended to him, and he gets it.
Yeah. I love spreading it out. I love spreading the music around.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get it, you know.
No.
It's like that old country stuff. Like you know, you play it to somebody and it's a crackly old record, and they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know.
I think people sometimes need. I sometimes forget that I had to go on a journey to get to some places, and I forget that, like, as much as I love this record now, maybe 10 years ago I wouldn't have thought anything of it. And I suppose part of growing older is like starting to appreciate some things that maybe you didn't appreciate when you were younger. And it sometimes takes me a little while to like find. I mean, I wouldn't have probably been into quite a lot of the things that I like now. been listening to like a lot of Gregory Porter and like sort of more soulful things, and maybe that wouldn't have been something that I would have loved 15 years ago.
Sure.
I liked a bit more rowdy and a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never wanted to be in a band with horns, and now I only want to be in a band with horns. I mean, yeah. So it's you sometimes you need to get there, don't you? I suppose you will have seen an incredible amount of the music industry changing. From everyone I've spoke to, I've sort of mentioned this, and it's like the release of like digital media and the transition from CDs to MP3s and online and all that kind of stuff. Has that been a good thing for you, or has that been or not so much?
I don't know. I mean, I would struggle, I think, to bring out a record at the moment. Like we were talking earlier, and I told you that I've got a record that I've worked on for quite a long time. I'd like to put it out, but I've sat there and I've thought, oh, is this the right time to do it? You know, it doesn't really feel like it is at the moment.
No.
You know, and like, would I actually sell any?
Yeah.
You know, you know, what were things like Spotify and everything? You know, I was reading some stuff online the other day about it, and people that are in the similar kind of business as me, you know, saying they've made like 10 records over the last 20 years, and you know, they've always done all right out of it, and all of a sudden
it's dried up.
They just can't seem to get rid of them, and their house is full of like piles of these CDs that they can't sell, you know. So I don't really fancy that. I mean, I've tried, you know, I've brought out stuff before, and it's hung around. You know, you go out and you gig and you sell them. You know, that's how you get by. You know, you sell them at gigs, like. But I don't know. I did some vinyl for a while, and then you get like loads of people who say, oh, you know, I sold my record player. I'm not intending on buying vinyl, so like, you know, it's a weird one. The funny thing with the vinyl thing is that I noticed that most of the older guys are the ones who are less likely to want to buy it. The younger people would be like, yeah, we'll buy vinyl, like, you know.
It's gone through a renaissance, isn't it? It's kind of like, I mean, I remember being.
But I think it's bypassed the older generation because they feel cheated.
Yeah.
Because they all had these huge collections of vinyl.
Yeah.
And then the CDs came along, and it was like, oh yeah, I'll get rid of all that then. And I remember thinking to myself, are you crazy?
Yeah.
You'll never get that back.
No.
So many people did. You know, they were banging on about how CDs were amazing and everything, and of course they weren't. And here we are, 15 years later, or whatever it is, and you know, it's kind of all over as well, like, you know. Yeah. So I'm thinking, you know, if I go and get some CDs duplicated, it's probably going to be 1,000 copies.
Yeah. That's
quite a lot of time. It's going to take me to get rid of those.
Yeah.
You know, like, I made a record in 2011 with Becca, and we've still got copies of that record.
Yeah.
Not a great deal of them, but we still got them. You know, that's 6 years ago.
Yeah. Well, we did. I joined Company B, and the first year we did an album, we've just sold out. So I know exactly the feeling. It's 5 years, 6 years of just.
That's right.
You know, and that's selling them at every gig and doing gigs all weekends. You know, they go slow, don't they?
Yeah.
They go slow.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem to be as much interest in it generally. You know, if they can find you on Spotify, then.
Yeah. I've had people say that. I've had people say, I won't buy an album, I'll just go and see you on Spotify. And that's, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I don't know whether or not that weighs up against the fact that you get people finding out about you that may never have heard about you. And they might, you know, you might get people in like some other country that go, wow, Vince Lee's like this is exactly what I want, and then we'll come and give you business, or.
That's right, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, there's, you know, it depends how you look at it, I guess. If you look at it like that, then you know you're going to see the positive side of it.
Yeah.
There are going to be people who discover you, but you could say the same thing about YouTube or even Facebook or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing is that, like, the other week, I was messing around with a 12-string guitar, and I thought, I'll make a little video of a tune, you know. And it just so happened that it was the 10th anniversary of the death of a guy I used to work with years and years ago, a great harmonica player, and I decided I was going to do one of his songs as a tribute, and I did one take. I didn't think about it too much. I just did one take, and and I stuck it up online, and I went off to my gig, like, you know, and then within like a couple of days, well, in fact, like 24 hours, I think I had like 10,000 views.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Of this video, like, and it got shared like 250 times.
Yeah.
Like by people all over the globe, and I was just, it just made me go like, wow, man, that's quite crazy.
Yeah.
You know, because there's not a record label or album deal or anything like that could do that for me, you know. And I've done that from my bedroom.
Yeah.
On a Tuesday or whatever, you know, with no expense, and I've reached all those people, and there are going to be a few people along the line there that are going to go, oh, this guy's worth checking out, I'll keep in touch. Yeah. I mean, I had like 30 friend requests as well that day. It was really weird.
Yeah.
And
powerful,
like,
isn't it, really?
It's a very powerful thing. Like, if you, I mean, obviously you've got to put something out there that's going to grab people's attention a little bit. And to be honest with you, I didn't expect this to do that as much as it did.
No.
You know, so I was quite amazed. I actually went online and said, "Wow, I'm actually amazed."
Yeah.
You know, because I thought it was worth mentioning. So there's that now. You know, that wasn't a thing like 10 years ago.
No.
That wasn't. You know, I mean, I've done YouTube stuff and that for years, like demos and guitar demos, and a lot of them had many thousands of hits. Like, you know, like one of them I did is like 70,000 hits. You know, over the last 10 years or whatever. So I mean, there are a lot of people who've got to know me because of stupid things like that.
Yeah.
So it's something I've always done, but it's not something that I didn't intend on that. You know, when I started out, I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, I must put up another video for people to watch. You know, it's not really. I was more about sort of, you know, let's go out and play some rock and roll.
Yeah, yeah.
Chase some women.
Yeah, that's right. It's always. It seems like you have to be quite savvy for it, doesn't it? It's like quite a.
Yeah.
You've got to be quite on it, haven't you? And I suppose.
Oh, there's some people who really throw themselves at it, you know.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I think is a little bit desperate. I'm not really into that.
No.
I find that, like, you know, hang on a minute, you know, if you can't like sit there in front of me and play the guitar or whatever and move me a little bit, then I'm right, no amount of forcing me to do so is gonna you know, change my opinion of that.
No. So,
like, I don't know. I regularly find new people online that are doing a good job of whatever they're doing, and I'm like, you know, I get a little bit obsessed about it or whatever, and so it does work. It most definitely does work. But it's just one of those new things that, you know, I mean, where does that leave me? I've got no more money.
No.
You know, I'm just as skint as I was.
Yeah.
Before I did it. It just goes to show that, you know, that I don't need this big like production thing behind me to reach a lot of people. It's you know, and it makes you question the whole thing, I guess. I don't know.
It's yeah. I think and lots of people, you know, everyone's had a slightly different take on it. I talked to a guy called Mike TV, and he was in a band, and he had like all these followers on MySpace, and then he transitioned, and then MySpace died, so he transitioned across to Facebook, and he like lost contact with all of his fans. He now makes his money doing Twitch streams. Right. Online, so he just goes online and he does a stream, and he will just play guitar and just sort of chat with the people that come onto this stream. So music's kind of like evolving, and how we enjoy music's changing, and I suppose, you know, some people like for my band, or for the band I sing in, we do gigs. That's how we make our money, but some people make it, you know, from selling music, but that seems to be drying up, doesn't it? The idea that you will get your music, like, I think punters are thinking now, actually, I have a right to get your music for free, and I will pay you to come and see you live. And I suppose that's where music's at in some respects. I don't necessarily love that.
I think it's counterproductive. I think that in time that like you say, like, bands won't record as much.
No.
They can't, you know, what they're going to spend out £4,000 on a record that they can't sell.
Yeah.
You know, there are lots of bands that probably should record and haven't.
Yeah.
Because of that one reason, because they just, you know, they can't justify doing it.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, that is going to be counterproductive in the end.
Yeah.
And the only things that you're going to end up like able to listen to is the dross because there's loads of money behind it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and that doesn't make for good music. It's just because there's loads of money behind it.
No.
You know, and if you buy into the bullshit of it, then you know, big sucker you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's not how I came to the table with it. You know.
No. But it's changing so quickly, isn't it? And I suppose it's hard for people to. It's hard to kind of adapt to the new model, and it doesn't work for everybody, does it? It doesn't work at all.
No. I find it interesting, you know, that there is this, you know, this kind of drive to like create new music. I find that very interesting, like, because there's no real passion with, it seems, with the younger generation, like in the people that I know anyway. They seems to be like the people that are around my scene. They seem to be coming from a different place, you know, than what we were when we were coming up with music, you know. And it's not very rock and roll. It's not.
No.
You know, it's almost like a bit more business minded.
And
sort of like, and I'm thinking, well, you know, that's not really.
The spirit.
That doesn't make for good music. You know, that makes for sort of like boring stuff that I don't really want to know about.
No.
You know, it's weird. You know, we all got into music off the back of punk rock when we were coming up.
Yeah.
We were punks back in the 80s, and then we grew up and we're like, well, what are we gonna do now? You know. So we went out and found other music that was kind of like not too far away from where we started out. You know.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of, you know. But I think you can't talk to people about that stuff anymore because it's done and it's over.
Yeah.
You know.
But then I wonder whether or not, like, maybe this, like, in the same way that CDs was this whole thing where everyone went, oh, that's the new thing, let's get rid of all that other stuff. Like, I wonder whether or not this will just come full circle again, and then we will get, you know, like, it seems like quite a lot of music business is quite cyclical, kind of like, it does something, they exploit it, and then it kind of, people get sick of that, and then they want some real people, don't they? They want some, people get sick of, like, these talent show, you know.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that's got a lot to answer for all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the younger generation and what kind of direction they want to take it in.
Yeah.
I think that you know, they're aspiring to this bullshit thing that you know, I've got no interest in that.
No.
You know, I really haven't. I'm more interested in people that are out there and slogging their ass off for it and struggling, you know. I'm more into that, you know, and I think that a lot of people are. I think that that's got a very short shelf life.
Yeah.
You know, and the trouble with it is that, you know, there are so many young singer-songwriter type musicians that they learn enough guitar so they can sing the tune, and they sing the tune, and then they're waiting for the royalties to come in. Well, you know, come on, man, like, you know,
do
you
some gigs or something.
Yeah, like, you know, where is that? Where I don't know where that is. I'm not digging it.
No.
You know, I'd like to see somebody who can, you know, got a skill.
Yeah.
You know, with that and can pull me in and you know, sing a tune at me.
Be real.
You know, that's not just like derivative and insipid. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, Plymouth's really terrible for it. You know, there are a lot of like young, kind of like open mic people.
Yeah.
You know, for want of a better term, you know, there's just loads of them.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got an acoustic guitar with a horrible pickup in it that makes it sound like
like a plastic hole.
Yeah, you know, everybody's got one of those. And you just come along and plug into someone's PA.
Yeah.
Bang out some awful tunes you don't want to hear.
I think it's like, I think you're quite right. It's like, what are they aspiring to?
Yeah, I mean, where are all the bands? You know, where are all the younger bands? You know, I'm sure there are some around, but like,
yeah,
it doesn't seem like anybody wants to book them. You know, you're more likely to be asked not to play your original material if you're going to come and play in someone's venue. You know, oh no, we want stuff that people know.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not helping anybody.
That kills
really.
it, doesn't it? That's the death
of
it.
I mean, you know, we don't, even if we did play cover material, it wouldn't be anything that anybody knew.
No.
More than likely, unless you're pretty sort of like anal about music. You know, it's not. We're not going out and playing like, you know, the obvious stuff.
No.
I take offense if people try and make me do that, you know.
Yeah, that's quite right.
Like, not know where, like we're at the blues bar and people are asking me to play Led Zeppelin, and I'm like, mate,
go away.
It's the blues bar. Did you see the sign outside? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I got the gig. I've been there for 13 years. Can you believe? 13 years
That's
I've been
mad.
there. Every Tuesday night.
That's good. I think there's a lot to be said for the doing the grind, isn't there? And like being the people that are showing up and being the people that are kind of like about and.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to do some stuff with Plymouth, and I've tried to like put on events and stuff like that. But in the end, I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, I just need to get my head down and do my own thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm beating my head against the wall a little bit here.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much you can do with it. I mean, we've had some good gigs, we've put on some good events, but like, you know, the place is not a blues town.
No.
It just isn't. Like, I mean, I've been to a lot of places that are. You know, I've toured all over Europe, and Scandinavia was full of them. Like, Holland is full of these little clubs and people that know their stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But there's not a great deal of it down here, like, you know. There really isn't.
It's a shame because Plymouth, when I lived in Plymouth, it had a real sort of cool vibe musically, and I was like, every night I could go out and sort of see a good live band.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could wander around and be like the White Rabbit, and
Mm-hmm.
you could just go around and like the Cooperage and stuff like that, you know.
Mm.
And a lot of these like really cool venues kind of died.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they're all going, like,
Yeah, which
one
is
after the other.
which is a bit of a shame, isn't it? Because I suspect they're just going to be turned into some
Yeah.
commercial building or some
Yeah, it will be.
or some sort of student.
Yeah. There's nobody fighting that corner, you know. So, it's kind of over. It's done its day, you know. And like when you were living in Plymouth, I'm not sure when that was.
Sort of like 2007.
Yeah. See, the place has changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
You know. Christ, we had a lot of fun back then. We had a lot of stuff going on. These days, it's not as common.
No.
I wouldn't say. You know, like you said, the White Rabbit. I mean, now the guys who run the White Rabbit are in the Junction.
Yeah.
And the Underground, you know, on Mutley as well. You know, which is like the two kind of like punk rock kind of guy venues. You know.
Yeah.
Which, you know, they're still doing what they're doing, like, but obviously on a slightly smaller scale than the White Rabbit, I
Yeah.
guess. They're still fighting it on, like, you know, and there's some good bands coming through with that, and I'm sure, you know, I'm not really up on it at the moment, but I'm pretty sure they're still putting on good events.
Yeah.
And other than that, really, there's not a great deal going on.
No.
You know, it's settled into this kind of like routine, you know, this rota. So many bands, and
They
you
just
go
do the
round and
rounds,
round.
yeah.
Yeah, just go round and round.
Yeah.
You know, but there are a few things happening. Like, it's just digging it out and finding it.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's quite hard to be connected to the like sort of secret, like to know where what's happening, isn't it? Like you've got to be a little bit involved.
You have, yeah. Yeah.
And also, I suspect that like it's, I don't know why, but it seems like a lot of these pubs won't pay decent bands to come. So there's like a cap on the amount of money, and I suppose that's because they can't afford it, or maybe.
Yeah, there is. You know, I mean, you know, there's been no sort of like, there's been no pay rises going on.
No,
for
no.
quite a long time
Yeah.
when it comes to bands. In fact, it's probably gone the other way.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean a lot of that's down to the general state of things.
Yeah.
Generally, but like I also think that, you know, there's just not as many people doing it. There's just not as much of a drive for it. I don't think there is, unless I'm missing something. You know, I consider to be like fairly well in touch with everything. You know, compared to some people, but like I'm not really, compared to what it was like a few years ago. I'm not seeing it. You know.
No.
You know, there are a few people that are trying to make something of it, but
Yeah.
it's not like it was. You know, it's become very corporate.
Yeah.
Very sort of like I said, it's just like a, you know, hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Really.
So do you? I'm a little bit out of touch with where you're gigging and stuff. But are you got any like festivals or any? Do you do any of that sort of thing? Or
Yeah, well, we did quite a few things this year. I've done a lot of stuff with Becca as a duo.
Yeah.
Playing the ragtime and the old country blues and stuff. We've done a lot of gigs, festivals, and from like the local stuff like Dartmouth Festival and.
Which is a really nice festival.
Yeah, it's wicked. It's always good,
Yeah.
Up to we did some blues festivals as well. We did like Upton on 7 Blues Festival this year, which was good. It was really nice audience.
Yeah.
My band played at Scarborough Blues Festival, Top Secret Blues Festival this year. So we've done a bit of travelling, a little bit, getting around.
Yeah, that's good.
Going to different places than we would normally, but we find ourselves like drawn very much these days to Cornwall.
Yeah.
There's so many gigs in Cornwall, and especially with the duo, because we can squeeze in anywhere. There's lots of little country pubs where we can just go there and do like an afternoon gig, which is an easy gig.
Yeah.
There's nobody falling over you drunk or whatever, and they'll actually shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Because we're playing that sort of old gentle music. Some of it's not conducive to these rarely big noisy pubs in Plymouth.
Yeah.
So we find ourselves down there a lot, where it's a little bit more sort of rural and chilled out. Like the music itself, it seems to suit it. I think.
That's nice.
It's nice to be that sort of front room kind of vibe when you're playing in there and people are that close to you that they can
taste you.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. But yeah, we do a lot of that, and my band is always kind of around and about. We do gigs in the Millbridge still, and the Rod Line in Tydeford has been a favourite for years and years. I'm playing this weekend in Millbrook in the football club.
Cool.
Playing tonight in the Barley Sheaf in Liskeard.
Yeah.
Those kind of places that, we hit them, say 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And it's all right. It's cool. There are enough of them that we can do them so that we don't overexpose it. Like, there are lots of little things going on, but it's always evolving, and as one place closes, somebody else tries to open up something else.
Yeah.
So like, and then obviously like Becca's been off touring with Martin Barr for the last couple of years, so that's kind of like changed her focus maybe a little bit on music, and she's off doing a lot of her own thing as well now these days, as well as playing with me.
Yeah.
Singing harmony with Alex Hart, and she's got a new band on the go as of last Friday. They did the first gig with a couple of other female singers, musicians.
They're called The Trees?
They're called The Trees, yeah. With Alani Evangelou on vocals and guitar, and
it's a bit of a super group, isn't it?
Because their big draw is that they've got the harmonies,
Yeah.
the big female harmonies thing, and people love that.
Yeah.
It floors them. If you choose the right material, you can really floor people with it. So so they're going to do all right out of that, I'm pretty sure.
I watched one of their videos on Facebook.
Yeah, I actually filmed that. I was the guy with.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was me filming it. They're like, "Yeah, film this."
No, they're really good. They sound like they got a lot of promise.
But again, like we were saying earlier, they put that up online.
Yeah.
A few days later, it's had like 8,000-9,000 views.
Yeah.
From people all over the globe.
Yeah.
They're a brand new band. There's absolutely no interest with record labels from them yet, because they've not even done a gig yet, and yet everybody's seen them perform.
Yeah.
Like far and wide like that, in such a short space of time. It's almost like somebody needs to like be paying attention to this.
Yeah.
And going, actually, this is the stuff that's kind of like people are, voluntarily listening to.
Yeah.
Not because we're shoving it at them. It's quite interesting, I think, all that.
I think if you were to break it down into a really like mechanical and business minded way, I'm sure that with the correct, sort of marketing campaign or whatever you would need to do, you could do some people can have some like incredible overnight successes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a good thing necessarily, because you get bands that just have these like don't know what to do with that, do you? You need to have been working and getting used, honing your craft almost, don't you?
Yeah.
That's the worry of it, isn't it? But you could also, in the same breath, just have those moments of just breaking. Someone you could just do the right thing at the right time, and then it just goes all over the place, and that's it. You could be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a crazy time, really.
Yeah, man. I mean, if nothing else, you're reaching people who are into a similar thing that you are. So, if that's that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
'Cause you've got to kind of like those people are the ones that are going to come back and want to listen to more of you.
Yeah.
I think so. Like if you can do that, you're gonna. There's gonna be lots of people that'll experience your material and they won't really get it.
Yeah.
It won't be that's not really my thing or whatever. But if you can find people who go, yes, this is
That's
what I've been
it.
looking for,
Yeah.
then that's gold dust.
I think
the
that's
stuff.
I think that's one of the things about one of the things you do really well, and in some respects, what I think the company B do well is like please somebody very much. Do you know what I mean? Please be somebody's exact thing.
Yeah.
And just try and do. A couple of people I've spoke to, I've sort of asked, what is the route to being a good, successful band? And I think one of the answers is to do what you love, and do it as be exactly that thing. Don't try and be somebody else's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just be exactly what you love doing, because that kind of authentic love is like what draws people in.
Yeah.
If you go and see somebody and you think that band, they love that. That's their thing, and they do that like nobody else.
That's right. Yeah.
That's a big.
Yeah, that at the end of the day, that's basically what you're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's basically what it's all about. So, I spent a lot of time like going out there and schlepping my guitar around different places, playing to a bunch of like slack jaws in Plymouth, and Saturday night drinkers, and there's plenty of them. Believe me.
Yeah.
And it's a complete waste of time, really. But there are going to be maybe two people in that room.
Yeah, they go. That's it.
Who are like, wow, man, I'll be coming to see you next week.
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah.
You're not going to please them all. I'd find it like, I'd be a bit scared if everybody started liking my stuff. I'd be freaked out by it. It wouldn't.
It would ruin it.
Yeah, I would be like, find something else to do.
Yeah.
I've always been for the underdog, me. I'm not really. I've never really been commercially minded,
No.
musically especially, anything commercial has really just gone over my head.
Yeah.
I grew up in the '80s, and I was like not happy about that.
No.
When I was in the '80s, I wasn't happy about it, and I hated it all.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is rubbish, and nobody believed me. And of course, years later, they twigged that maybe I had a point. At the time, they were too wrapped up in it all, wearing show suits and stuff. I was like, no, man.
I'm alright for that.
You're not going to have any good photos to look back at.
Yeah, it's like
because in every single one of them, you've got a mullet and a tracksuit on. You've got. I look the same as I do now in the '80s.
Oh, it's good to like something and stick with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we sort of talked about the trees. Is there any other local bands that you'd like to sort of shine a light on? And
well, there are a few bands kicking around. Like obviously, there's Russell Sinclair's band that I occasionally jump on.
Yeah.
Gigs with him. He sort of invites me to come along and play, or I invite him along. We're good friends. We have been for a good few years now. He's doing all right. He's treading the boards and doing his thing, and he's great. He's a great singer. He's a good guitar player. He has a good band behind him. They all dig it. They're all on the same page with it. So he's doing all right. And like I said earlier, the guys from the big sets in Newquay, they're doing pretty cool. I mean, Jake, I think, is going to move to Sweden for a little while, but all he'll do is he'll go out there and he'll
do that again.
You'll find guys who do the same thing out there, and you'll find a lot more of them as well.
Yeah.
And Sweden is one of them places where they get it, and the standard of musicianship is much higher.
Yeah.
In that genre, what he likes, which is all the old jump blues and stuff.
Yeah.
So he'll come back with new experiences,
Yeah.
When he finally does come back. The rest of the guys are all going slightly in different directions, but they're all doing very, very positive things. You know, it's sort of just maturing. You know, I've known them since they were all like pretty much teenagers, I think. You know, but they're doing all right. They've just won some massive, great competition of a French festival.
Right.
You know, they came first. Yeah, they have this. Thomas Ford actually did the same thing a few years ago, and he won it too. Like,
Yeah.
You know, and they've just done the same deal, like, you know, and so they're going to get a lot of work, I think, in France next year. Lots of little festivals. Everybody wants them to play there.
That's awesome.
They're a good party band, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're a bit funk influenced as well as blues, you know.
Yeah.
They got a great bass player who knows how to play all that stuff, you know. And that's half the thing with that, you know. Yeah, they're cool guys. I like them a lot, and so there are a few people around like Alex Hart's doing good stuff, and
yeah, and you did some stuff on her thing.
Yeah, just some guitar solos and stuff. Just the songs are already there, you know. Just needed a little bit of fleshing out with things here and there.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you like getting into the sort of production-y, mixy, all of that kind of after stuff? Is that something that you enjoy?
I did a lot of it with Doc from the PMC. I mean, we did a lot, like you know, obviously that record that I've worked on for a long time, that was a big learning curve for both of us.
Yeah.
And I've worked on several other people's projects in the PMC.
Yeah.
As producer and you know, like arranging other musicians to come in, and because I play quite a lot of instruments, like string instruments, so I can you know, I can play double bass and I can play mandolin. Cool. And you know, and I come in and sometimes I get asked to just play that specific instrument and off I go again. Other times it's more like, you know, I get involved with the songwriting a little bit, or the, you know, the production side of it. So yeah, I've done a lot of that, and not so much recently.
Yeah. Not
so much recently, you know, but I did do a long stint of that for about 10 years. I think I worked on about 15 albums with Doc.
Wow.
In that time.
Yeah.
Little projects with different people, so, you know, and not all stuff that's completely right up my street, but like, in most cases it was, you know.
But I suppose in some respects, the stuff that you don't necessarily love gives you another like set of ideas, or maybe like tools to think about things differently. I suppose. Yeah,
I mean, I'll still come away from it thinking, you know, it's not really for me. Like,
no.
You know, I probably will, but you know, all I can really do is just try and be true to the tune. You know, it doesn't always mean like, oh, it's got to sound like me on that.
No.
It's got to fit in with the tune, you know, more importantly than it's got to sound like,
yeah,
you know, I'm some sort of guest
yeah
appearance, you know. I'd rather be seamlessly hiding in there with the rest of it, you know, and being part of the fabric of it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you know, I've done quite a lot of it. It's just one of those things where I got to the point where I was like, you know, I need to not do this for a while. I'm giving a lot of my time to this, and I never really get paid for any of it, so I'm just doing it for the love of it.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where I was like, I need to do my own thing for a while.
Yeah.
And look after number one a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But I made some good records. We've got a few like awards and stuff attached to it, you know, from little publications here and there, and you know, good reviews and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's furthered other people's careers a little bit, so that's nice to know that I had a hand in doing that. You know, pushing them in the right direction a little bit if I can.
Yeah, it's nice to kind of help shape the. One of the things I was thinking about was like, how do we as musicians make the music industry a little bit better? What can we do that will kind of not necessarily give back, but how do we kind of make the whole situation better for everybody? And I suppose in some respects doing that is exactly the sort of thing you need to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it for everybody, but if you can, if you see somebody who's younger than you and you see that kind of spark in their eye that you had when you were a kid, you'll probably help them out.
Yeah.
If they're you know, going in the same direction as you, a similar direction at least anyway, and you feel like, oh yeah, this guy's got it going on, this girl's got it going on, I'm gonna you know, do what I can to
help them out,
to push them on, like, you know. I mean, I've done some really obscure ones. I did one, you know, Jessica Sweetman. She's
yeah, I've heard of her.
Yeah, I did a record with her once, like just one track.
Yeah.
Me and Sebastian went in there and recorded this track, and it was quite a dark tune. It was about some stalker that she had. It was a pretty weird tune, and you know, she kind of the song, to me, it sounded a bit like a sort of Tom Waits thing. So I'm pretty good at that kind of material, and so we sort of took it that direction. We did this one track with her, but she's in New York now. She's making an album out there, and she's doing really, really well. Like, you know, I mean, I'm not saying any of that is down to this track,
but that's nice.
But it's just funny how, you know, you end up, you know, looking back over the years, you think, I remember when we were, you know, up in Stoke there recording something, and now she's like, you know, she was recently supporting Van Morrison.
Wow.
You know, it's pretty cool. Like, it's just nice to see people going on to better stuff. You know, it's just nice. Same with Becca. Like, Becca's been, the last couple of years, she's been touring with Martin Barr from Jethro Tull.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's done nothing but boost her confidence. You know, and also to take her music further. She's got fans from all over the place now.
Yeah. You
know, and not necessarily for the thing that she's known better for, which is singing blues with me.
Yeah.
You know, she's gone off and done this other stuff, and it's very country influenced what they do, and because she plays the washboard and everything. And, and you know, it's got that country vibe to it, and the close harmonies and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
You know, it's great, and you know, I'm sure it will keep building like that. You know, because she's just got a great voice.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're quite lucky. I always feel like quite lucky that like there's quite a cool selection of musicians, relatively sort of equidistant, and I love nothing more than that spirit of like people helping each other out and guesting on other people's stuff, and you know, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, man.
I think that's massively helpful.
Yeah.
For people.
I wouldn't mind jumping up with you guys one time.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That'd be really cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I could do the uniform.
Yeah.
But I could definitely play along.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll have to make that happen. Is there anything that you want to promote, or is there anything that you?
I'm not really all about promoting anything at the moment. I think like I've already touched on a couple of things that are happening.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really about me. It's more about the scene, and like.
Yeah.
And not always like the healthy side of it either. You know, there's been a lot of negativity around this year. We just lost a really good friend of ours this week, Mr. Phil Hawkes.
Yeah.
The piano player, and that's been on the cards for a little while, and it's not. We've been sort of watching that unfold, and it's not been a particularly nice period for anybody really. It's, you know, and it's all come to a head this week. What with him passing away, so like. You know, we did a little benefit gig for him earlier this year and raised a few quid for his family and everything.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's another self-employed musician who's not working as much as he could be.
Yeah. For
whatever reason, and like, you know, that's been kind of looming over everybody a little bit. So I do feel like, you know, there's a little bit of a black cloud around at the moment. You know. So I'm not really looking to do anything at the moment. I really don't know where I'm going to take things next. I've got this idea that I'm going to maybe play a little bit more solo next year, and just strip away all the layers and just listen to, you know, my own sort of beat really, and nobody else's.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got that in mind to do, but I'm not aspiring to anything with it. It's more of a personal thing.
Yeah.
I've been like woodshedding with the guitar quite a lot this last couple of years, trying to improve my skills a little bit when it comes to self-accompaniment and everything. I'm not so much concerned with playing within the confines of a band, more so solo and in a small duo situation and everything like that. You know, something that I've just been digging the depths of that and trying to get, you know. I'm getting older now, but I defy that thing of like, you know, you never learn anything when you're older. No. I don't believe that at all. I think that if you push yourself, you can still keep moving on with it.
Yeah.
And why not? You know, it's just a bit of fun, really. At the end of the day, you know, if I don't pull it off, then I'll just try it. I'll play something else.
Yeah. you got to have that spirit, haven't you, of like constant evolution.
Yeah. I'm like I said earlier, I'm a fan of music, so you know, I want a bit of that. You know, I want a bit of that because I'm a fan of it. You know, it's not really got anything to do with anyone else. You know, I'm not thinking, you know, if I go and play this, everyone will think I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, if I can play this, then I'll think I'm great.
Yeah.
And that's good enough.
Yeah.
You know, I think that you'll get to that point one day where you just go, well, as long as I'm cool with it, then, you know, I've never really been somebody who kind of aims to please and everything. It's just like I go into a bar or something and I play some music and some people like it and some people don't, and like you know, I've been doing that for a long time and I've not really got any kind of like ego wrapped into that. I'm just doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, if people think that what you're doing is you're true to it and you mean it, then they'll get on board with it. And I think that's just what's happened, really.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that authenticity is like for me is like just critical in whatever music I like.
Yeah.
I want to feel like somebody really gives a shit about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, well, thanks very much, Vince. You've got a gig this evening, haven't you? So
I have. Yeah. What time's it here?
It's 7 o'clock.
Oh, we're all right.
Yeah.
We're all right.
But I might do, if you don't mind, I might do a little video of some of your playing, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Cool. What I might do is I'll just call this. So thanks very much, Vince, and have a nice gig, and check out Vince Lee, and I'll leave some links at the bottom so you can all see it. Cool. All right. Thanks very much. Cheerio.